Hi, Can here. I'm here again with needing to do a big catch-up session. It looks like I only had October done through maybe about the second day. So I have been stuffing things in there though to use in my daily pages, and I have my 5-year journal, which you can see up in the corner, or my daily little line a day for 5 years. I do try to keep up pretty good in it, and so I have that to refer back to for my days, so that's really helpful. Once it jogs my memory, I can kind of remember the rest of the details I want to include. And I also put more photos and memorabilia in my daily journal than I do in my 5-year, just because of the bulk that would be involved. So I do like it. It may seem a little bit repetitious, but I really do use them in different ways, and this is the holder of my photos and things like that for the most part, and I'll have a little bit more space to write a little more detail about my days. As I've said before, I'm a firm believer that every day is a treasure, and even the most ordinary of moments are a gift to be enjoyed, and I get the most out of them by recording them in my journal. So that's kind of what's behind my desire to do daily journaling. And of course, I like it to be visual by gluing in photos or drawings or stickers or whatever fun things I can lay my hands on. So I am having to go back though, because at this point it's about 3 weeks, I believe, behind that I am, and I say behind like that's a problem. I don't really intend anything different. I mean, ideally I guess I would go every day and do a little bit of journaling for that day, and sometimes I do, but more often it's a catch-up session, and that's okay with me, as long as I have my little line jotted down to jog my memory and I don't get too far behind. I really don't mind having these little catch-up sessions. It just seems maybe more efficient, while I'm at it, to do several pages at once. So I'd rather it be more like an every week thing than, 3 weeks is a little longer than I prefer, but it's still not a big deal to me to play catch up. And actually, it's kind of fun to go back and reminisce about my days, after the fact. So I do, like I said, it really helps that I've printed out some photos here that I want to use. I've stuck some ephemera and little bits and pieces of this and that in there. And I also, as you notice, pre-decorated the pages, or pre-prepped the pages with the date and the day, and a little bit of decoration ahead of time for the month of October. So that also helps a lot. So I had some orders coming in, and I'm including some of the, like packaging and the washi tape. This was a new washi tape, so I'm including it in there. It's kind of fun to look back and, see when I got those. Also playing a big part, at least in the first part of October, is my Peachtober pages. So that's a daily challenge. I really like to participate, at least occasionally, in art challenges. And the one I chose for the October art challenge this year was Peachtober. So I've been following those prompts and trying to make illustrations with acrylic gouache to go with those prompts. So I am including photos that I took of those pages, whether completed or in progress, as I went. Now I do later in the month fall behind, which is fine. I'm not, a real stickler that it has to be done in that exact time frame. I do hope to complete all of them eventually, but it might be in November before I get them done. But it has been a fun challenge so far. So I'm making record of that, that challenge and the progress on that in my daily pages here as well. I don't usually get into real big topics or, real deep personal thoughts, and these are more like events in my day, what I did, even just like, the work projects I worked on, activities I did. So nothing very earth-shattering, I guess. But these are the things that the bulk of my life is made up of. So I just feel like it's a way to value them, to have gratitude for them, and that's just kind of what it's all about. So I'm sure anyone else going back and reading it might think it was kind of boring, but yet it is a snapshot of just my life and what it's like. I am giving you a sped up version of working through these pages since I'm doing so many, but I will finish up with a real-time version of doing a 2-day spread at the end. So if you want a more realistic time frame of what it takes to finish a spread, you can watch that at the end. I usually keep it pretty simple. The pens I used, I think I used 2 different ballpoint pens in the course of my journaling through these several days. I also like to use a Tombow marker to write some of my headings or a word I want to emphasize, like the Peachtober prompts I wrote with this orange Tombow marker, just so that kind of stands out. I use a lot of my own printables that are available on my Patreon page or my Etsy shop. This one, though, that's on the right-hand side on the 5th is by Pocket Journal Pam, and I have a little stash of leftover odds and ends that other people have done as well that I pull out and add into my journal, and it just gives a nice variety. I've also included in here a sweet little card I got from a friend, and as well as my photos. I did hand letter the day of the week, the Wednesday, up at the top of the page, so I don't always use printables. Sometimes I, take the time to do my own lettering in there, but printables do speed things up, I will say. So I just had a couple photos in there of a piece of art I made and the Peachtober prompt for that day, and some packaging from food I had. I had a extra little photo, so you saw me sticking that up into my 5-year journal. I try to be a little bit sparing, but I do want that to be a rich record as well, so once in a while I do stick photos into that. So here's a good example of a pre-decorated page. I had added some watercolor and done some decorating on this page, so there's really not so much left for me to do. And it's kind of hard to pre-decorate because you don't know, what you're going to want on any given day, but I don't usually have a problem with that. It usually works out fine. I keep it pretty generic. I don't pre-decorate for like an event or an activity because, anything could happen and it could be canceled. But I do just add some decoration and some watercolor or washi tape or whatever, and that does really help me keep caught up. My photos, that kind of vary. Sometimes I print a whole batch at once, like I did on this, where I actually just print it out on my computer and printer. Other times I print it more as I go, and I usually use my little portable, Canon selfie printers in that case. So having those photos, I usually, if I'm sitting down to do some journaling, I get most of them printed ahead. Here you see me pulling out that little selfie square printer to print out some photos. Sometimes I don't realize that there was a photo that I want to include until I start, remembering what was going on that day. This is pretty typical that I go back and, I run across things and go back and forth on the pages. So like I'm backtracking here to a page I'd already put in. I had stuck this card in, and so I just used it as a place to stick in a little bit of ephemera as I came across it as well. And this is the photo that I just printed out right now on my selfie square. I like these little photos that I'll print 4 per page, and they're just a really handy size. These work well not only on these A6 daily pages, but they're perfect for like the cousin size monthly pages as well. And I plan to do a video here coming up soon on a little printer, like if you have the portable printers and what sizes work well in which Hobonichi section, and all of that, because there are some pretty handy correlations there. The sticker on this page is by Meatball and Company, the little panda bear sticker with the package, and I chose that because I had already used some Meatball and Company dates on the spread, so I thought that would tie in well. I think I'd gotten some packages that day or something that I was making note of. I also put a little photo of my sticker club mailing. I try to take a photo and record that. It's kind of fun to look back and see what I sent on what month. And generally they get a postcard and a couple stickers. I only guaranteed one, but I usually send 2 out in that sticker club mailing. On the next page, I wanted a little tip in as a like extra journaling space, but I didn't really have ephemera that was, would totally work by itself with that. So cut out this little piece of paper from a Hobonichi like little notebook, and so that's what I'm holding and trying to figure out exactly how I want to handle doing that tip in. I then pull out, this was actually a card from a recent maker's pack. My top tier patrons would get like a collage pack, and this was a card from that, and I decided that actually it would make a perfect tip in for this. It has some like vintage clothing on it, and I had been sorting through my clothes and changing for the season and all that, and so that seemed an appropriate tip in for the day after all. I often save bits and pieces, like if we go out to eat or go shopping or go somewhere, any packaging or bags or anything like that I tend to keep and use in my pages, in my journals, whenever possible. This was also the day my second Hobonichi order came in, when I got my Hobonichi Han and Techo planner, and I have a sticker for that down there at the bottom. Now I'm jumping into a real-time journal session, just kind of taking a minute to admire my little book. I love how chunky they get. I love the little size of these A6. Here you can see some of the pages that I got completed, and I'm ready for this spread. That's the 22nd and 23rd, which was actually at the time I filmed this, made me up to date. And I had gathered some things already for this spread, so that makes it quick and easy. I had already put the little church on there when I pre-decorated the page with the dates and the days and everything. So I'm adding to it, though, this little house off of a previous collage sheet, because we went that night to Shakespeare on the Porch, and it's this family that has this event every year. They've done it for like 17 years now, and they have a farmhouse with a big front porch, and they've made that be like a stage. They put on this production every year that involves their kids and a lot of other community children as well. In this very well done production, it's always of some Shakespeare piece. This year it was The Tempest, and very good. They don't charge for it. They just let people come and bring their lawn chairs and watch this production. So we had gone that day to that, and that's what that photo is, just of, sitting in the dark with the lit up stage up there. The little cat up there was off of a collage sheet, and actually in my collage sheet it was laying on top of I think a television or computer or something, and I just cut it off to put up there because we often have a little bit of a rest time on Sunday afternoons when we come home, and so that just kind of seemed to fit for the day. Here I'm putting that title in with my Tombow marker, but since it doesn't show very much with the color I picked kind of a pinky lavender color because I thought that kind of tied in with the title I already had on there. So then I'm just tracing around that with my gel pen here, and that's just an easy way to do lettering. Super simple. Anybody can do it, and it makes a kind of a standout little title. So this is real time, so you see exactly how long it takes me to do this. So it does take a minute to do this type of lettering, and I don't do it all the time, but once in a while it is kind of nice to have in there, and I kind of find it kind of relaxing to do. I always leave myself at least a little bit of room for journaling. I don't do a whole lot of writing in these little books. I, don't have a lot to say other than just a general idea of what we did that day. But I do think it's valuable to have a bit of writing in there. Sometimes it's mostly images, and sometimes it's mostly writing, but I do like a balance of the two. I think it's more visually appealing and meaningful that way. use this camera to denote that I did some filming on this day. This is actually the day that I filmed this video. And I decided that I needed some little indication of a journal or something to show what I was filming about. I'm pulling out, you can barely see it there to the left, but a sticker book, like sticker release paper that I've stuck some things into, and I remembered that I had some journal images in there. So I'm going to pull those out and stick them in to the book, or stick one of them into the book. I really love having this sticker release pad because it's a good place to stick odds and ends stickers, or some of these washi tape type stickers that are not, like, they have a backing on them as they come in the roll, and so once you cut off a section, then you've got just this loose pieces left. So I like to stick those in there as well. So I have gone and gotten this little journal bit in there. So I paused my writing so that I could get that stuck in there, so I know what space I have to write in. These washi stickers are transparent, so where the overlaps the camera, I want to kind of cover up the camera part a little bit. So I'm using a colored pencil to kind of mute that down and make it look a little more blended together. And then I'll be ready to get back to my journaling. I realize at this point that I'm going to need something else to kind of fill in space this page, because I don't have a whole lot more to say. So I decide to pull out some of the kind of new washi tape I had that had like little journaling elements on it. And then that leaves me just the right amount of space left over to finish up the journaling that I want to do. And this brings me to the finish of this spread, and also gets me caught up for the whole month of October. And so I'm back on track for now, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.